Okay, so you want to buy some land, put up a fence, drop a few cows on it, and let nature do the rest. Grass grows for free. Cows eat grass. Cows have calves. Calves become money. How hard could it be? Here's the thing nobody tells you before you sign the loan papers. You are not entering a simple business. You are entering the most cyclical, most capital-heavy, most weather-dependent commodity operation in American agriculture. One where the same government report that made your neighbor rich last year could bankrupt you the next. And right now, in the middle of 2026, you are stepping into one of the strangest windows this industry has ever seen. Prices are at record highs. Margins are the best in a decade. And the very thing that's making you money is the same thing slowly eating away at the entire American beef supply. Before we talk numbers, you need to understand why this moment even exists. The U.S. cattle herd has fallen to 86.2 million head, the smallest since 1951. The beef cow herd specifically, the breeding females that determine everything that comes after, has dropped to 27.6 million, a level not seen since 1961. Drought across the Great Plains, high feed costs, and years of ranchers quietly selling off breeding stock instead of rebuilding it. That's the whole story in one sentence. Fewer cows, fewer calves, and a beef industry trying to feed a growing population with the smallest herd in 3/4 of a century. Ground beef hit $6.70 a pound at the grocery store in early 2026. That's not inflation. That's supply, plain and simple. Now here's what that means for you as the owner. Scarcity at the top of the chain becomes profit for the person still holding cows at the bottom. And right now, that profit is real. Let's talk about what it actually costs to get in. Land is the number that changes everything. Quality pasture runs anywhere from $800 to $1,500 an acre in cheaper regions, but good ranch land in better states runs $3,000 to $6,000 an acre. A 200-acre operation, land alone, can run you over $800,000. Add fencing at $1,500 to $3,000 a mile. Add water systems, starting around $5,000. Add a barn, equipment, a tractor, a stock trailer. A small leased operation with 50 cows can start around $150,000 to $250,000. A mid-sized ranch with owned land climbs past $1 million. A large commercial operation can blow past $2 million before a single calf hits the ground. This isn't a hobby. This is heavy industry wearing a cowboy hat. Then comes the herd itself, and this is where 2026 gets brutal for anyone buying in fresh. A bred heifer, a cow already pregnant with her first calf, is running $3,500 to over $5,000, depending on region and genetics. A cow-calf pair, meaning a mother and her calf sold together, is going for $4,600 to $6,100. 50 breeding cows alone will cost you somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000. And feeder cattle, the calves you'd buy to grow out and sell, hit an all-time record of $388.06 per hundredweight at Oklahoma City in early May. At that price, a 700-pound steer costs roughly $2,550 before you've spent $1 on feed, vet bills, or labor. Buying into cattle right now doesn't feel like starting a farm. It feels like buying into gold at the top of the market. So why is everyone still doing it? Because on the other side of that math, the returns are genuinely strong for the first time in over a decade. USDA data shows cow-calf operations pulled in $1,130 per cow in revenue in 2024 against $691 in operating costs, a net return of $439 per cow. And 2025 and 2026 numbers are tracking even higher. Sterling Marketing's cash margin estimates jumped from $168 per cow in 2022 to $440 in 2023 to over $536 and climbing since. Well-managed operations today are seeing $500 to $800 per cow. The industry itself is calling this the best cow-calf profit environment since 2015. But here's the catch nobody puts in the headline. Most operators aren't hitting those numbers. Most are sitting closer to $150 to $250 a cow, because the difference between a great year and an average one comes down to things that sound boring until you're the one losing money. Land debt versus land owned outright, rotational grazing versus hay dependence, a 90% weaning rate versus 82%. The farmers pulling $700 a cow aren't lucky. They're just relentlessly disciplined about the details everyone else ignores. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. The same scarcity that's paying you record prices for calves is quietly strangling the businesses one rung above you. Feedlots buy your calves, fatten them, and sell to packers. Packers slaughter and sell to grocery stores. And right now, packer margins are running negative $300 per head. Processing plants in Nebraska, Texas, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee have already closed or cut hours in 2026. The spread between what a feeder calf costs and what a finished steer sells for has widened from a historical average of 141 this year. That's not a healthy market. That's a supply chain under real strain. And if enough packing capacity disappears, the very buyers you depend on to purchase your cattle could shrink right along with the herd. Your record price today depends on someone downstream absorbing a loss. That's not a stable foundation. That's a countdown clock nobody can read yet. And this is where most first-time owners get blindsided. Cattle farming doesn't run on a normal calendar. It runs on an 8 to 12-year cycle. Prices go high, ranchers hold back heifers to rebuild the herd. Supply eventually grows, prices fall, ranchers cut back, and the whole thing starts over. Analysts are already saying the U.S. herd won't meaningfully expand until at least 2028. That means the record prices you're seeing today are not permanent. They are a phase. If you buy cattle at record high input costs right now, and the market corrects before your calves hit the sale barn, the same math that made your neighbor rich last year could leave you underwater this year. This business rewards people who buy low in the bad years and sell high in the good ones. Right now, almost every input, land, cows, feeders, is priced for the good years. That's the trap sitting quietly underneath every optimistic headline. There is a way around some of this, and the smartest operators are already doing it. Instead of buying commercial feeder cattle at record prices every single year, they're investing in registered breeding stock, genetics they own outright, so they produce their own calves at their own cost instead of paying $5,000 to $5 to $8 a pound hanging weight. Margins commodity cattle simply cannot touch. The operators making real money in 2026 aren't the ones chasing the sale barn every October. They're the ones who built a system where the market's mood swings matter less. At the end of all of this, here's what nobody tells you when you're standing on a piece of land, imagining a herd grazing across it. You are not really in the business of raising cattle. You are in the business of surviving a cycle that is bigger than you, older than you, and completely indifferent to your business plan. The land doesn't care what year you bought it. The cow doesn't know she's worth a record price. She just eats grass and has a calf, the same way cows have for 200 years on this continent. The people who last in this business for decades aren't the ones who got the timing perfect. They're the ones who built something that could survive the years when the timing was wrong, because the herd always comes back. The only question is whether you're still standing when it does.